Okay, we're live. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It's just going to be me here on the panel, and tonight we're going to be watching the 2000 movie GEIN.
I get lonely in this house all by myself.
Oh, Jesus.
It is time for you to do the Lord's work. Are you ready, Edward?
I'm ready, Mama.
His memories were tragic.
If it weren't for me, we'd be starving.
His desires were twisted.
I'm gonna do it, Mama. I'm gonna punish her for her sins.
His secrets were beyond imagination.
You think Ed killed Colette?
She's hanging in his cellar.
I love you so much, Mama.
Steve Railsback, Carrie Snodgrass.
Hi, Mary.
Truth is more terrifying than any fiction.
Of course, some folks are pretty disturbed, though, you know.
Ed Gein.
Okay, what's up, everyone? Looks like there's 8 people in the chat right now, but yeah, so I decided to stay on the theme of serial killers for the week, which is inspired by my mentally retarded fucking girlfriend, but doesn't look like I can hang out with her too much this week, so yeah, we're gonna stream all week. And yeah, so yesterday we did the 1974 movie Deranged Confessions of a Necrophile, which is another depiction of, you know, the Ed Gein serial killer story. And yeah, this is the one with Steve Railsback here tonight from the year 2000, which I think is really up there as a pretty underrated movie. Not exactly the best one, and I know this movie's kind of obscure in a certain way. You know, it's I. Where's it? Oh, I had the DVD. Yeah. So I think this movie desperately needs some kind of upgrade. I only have the DVD for this, and yeah, it's not really a movie that's talked about too much, but you do have Steve Railsback in the role of Ed Gein in this one, and as I think, you know, well, if most of you guys are big horror fans out there, you should know who Steve Railsback is. I personally think his best movie is Life Force from 85 or 86, the Tobe Hooper movie, but I think he does a really good job with, you know, tackling the role of Ed Gein in this one. And yeah, so this movie's about, I think, 90 minutes, so hour and a half, so if I had to assume, we'll probably be doing 2 hours here tonight, and there is a link pinned at the top there over at fedupmovies.com to watch this movie for anyone who wants to tag along and join me here. But yeah, let's get to the comments and get this underway. Yeah, we have Chester Franklin's here. What's up there, Chester? Thanks for stopping by. We also got D's here. What's up, Derek? Woo Riders. Hey, yo. We also have George's here, the Sailor Outlaw. What's up there, George? And 71's here too, 71 KJC. Hey, how's it going there? And Sue and Joe is here from the Bud Files. Yeah, I really got to start finding some time to get back into watching people's content and getting back into all this stuff. But yeah, but other than that, things are pretty good over here. I mean, I wish things could be better, but, you know, it's fortunately when people suffer from bipolar disorder and they live illogically and they cause problems where there isn't any problems. And whew, I got to say, I am grateful that I was not born with any mental issues. Thank God. But, you know, I will just say this, though, at the same time, like, I can be very understanding of people's mental illnesses and problems. I really can. But when you have people that are not trying to better themselves and not consistently stay on their medicine and they just constantly look for excuses and cop outs, that's when I just have no respect for those people and find it hard to talk to those people that don't want to better themselves. But we got Greg Brewer is here. What's up there, Greg? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, all's well. Not 100%, but yeah. But I mean, me personally, yeah, things are going good. But I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into doing all this stuff again. So I mean, yeah, it doesn't look like I can hang out with my girlfriend this week. So yeah, tomorrow night we'll be streaming with Juno in Texas on Texas's channel. We'll be doing a double feature on his channel. So we'll have the CWO in full effect. And we'll be watching The Food of the Gods and Alligator from 1980. So it should be a good time tomorrow night. And yeah, there goes 71 saying, sorry I'm late, just finishing my latest work of art. Yeah, I saw that real quick before I was getting on here. I saw that you tagged me in the latest video that you uploaded. And I'm always checking out the shorts on your channel. Usually lately that's all I've really ever had time for is catching people's shorts and getting or going down the rabbit hole of checking out shorts because they're obviously short and quick and easy to watch. But yeah, thank you for tagging me there, 71. And Anthony Chobe is here. How are you, Sean? Saul Mickey 17. Yeah, you tagged me, and but I still need to check that out. And the guy who directed that, the Korean director, Bong Joon-ho. I've really liked everything he's done so far. So at some point, I will get around to checking out Mickey 17. It's it's been getting decent reviews from what I've seen. But yeah, it looks like you enjoyed it. And yeah, people are saying hello to each other. I know Texas and Juno are still streaming right now. It seems like there was a lot of people streaming tonight, but yeah, other than tomorrow night, it looks like Thursday I'll more than likely be watching another serial killer related movie. I think I have the copy of it somewhere around here. So Thursday we'll be watching Confessions of a Serial Killer. This one right here came out in 1985, and yeah, this is based on the serial killer Henry Lee Lucas. And then looks like Friday I'll be streaming too. So we'll be watching Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which is also based on Henry Lee Lucas, the real life serial killer. And yeah, I figured since we did Deranged yesterday, I figured, why don't we just do another Ed Gein related movie, since there really isn't that many good ones. That 2007 one with Kane Hodder to me is just unbearable and just not very watchable. But I figured, for 2 days in a row we'll focus on Ed Gein, and then the following 2 days we'll focus on Henry Lee Lucas and just call it a week there. Because I want to have me some fun, unlike other people who just want to fucking embrace being fucking miserable. And we got Johnny's here, the unofficial fourth member of the CWO. What's up there, Johnny? Yeah, all's good here, man. I just wish I had a normal girlfriend. Would be nice. That's just too much to ask for. So, fortunately, I can only hang out with her for a very limited time before the bipolar bear comes out and claws my fucking face off. And Scott's here. What's up there, Schmarlos? Eating those leftover egg rolls from yesterday, it looks like. That sounds good. And yeah, it looks like you've been catching up on the Leprechaun movies, which is appropriate for this time of year, for this month or whatever. But another thing I've been thinking about doing, which is is going to be on St. Patrick's Day, is it'll be the 25th anniversary for the first Final Destination movie, and I haven't seen that movie in years. So I figured that would probably be the appropriate and best time to go back and watch that. And I know some of you horror fans are into those movies. I've only ever really cared for like the first two. I think I've seen the first three. What is there, 5 of those now? Something like that. But yeah, I think it would be appropriate to acknowledge the 25th anniversary for that on the 17th on St. Patrick's Day. So I'll be getting that scheduled on the channel sometime soon. But yeah, it looks like we're caught up on the chat for now. Johnny saying I'll make a video clip of you versus the bipolar parent. Yeah, go ahead, man. My life's fucked as it is, man. Do whatever you want, man. Whatever. I guess I don't even know what the fucking say anymore, man. I'm just fucking tired of being miserable and fighting with someone that just doesn't want to better themselves at all. But damn, I forgot to upload that. I wanted to upload like a certain clip from this movie, but I forgot to do it. Ran out of time. But yeah, other than that though, things are good. Things are going well as far as me and my health and everything. Doing well there, but yeah. But yeah, we'll probably get this started around the average time of about like 20 or 30 minutes into this. So we're coming up on 11 minutes right now. So probably in like the next 15, 20 minutes, something like that, we'll get this started. But yeah, you know what? Why not? Why not? We'll play my baby girl's favorite song. This one goes out to you, you nut.
Bipolar bitch, you told me that you hated me just yesterday. I keep my feelings tucked away. That love ain't really fucking fake. Don't look me in my fucking face. Don't look me in my fucking face. Okay, I know the things have changed. Please don't look in my face. You might see I'm not the same. You can't feel what's on the brain. You can't feel what's on the brain. I know I'm not worth it. And I know you hate my guts. Came to realize life's a bitch and I just gotta suck it up. I say you use my pain against me. How the fuck you call it love? I say my love so goddamn different. I can't help but give a fuck. Bipolar bitch, you told me that you hated me just yesterday. I keep my feelings tucked away. That love ain't really fucking fake. Don't look me in my fucking face.
So amazing what you can find on the internet. But all right, we'll get back to the chat here. Yeah, I know a lot. Not a lot of people are very familiar with this one, but like I said, it's kind of an obscure movie as far as finding like like an official copy of it. But there is a link at the top there over at Effed Up Movies. You should be able to open that up and just hit play. It should just play all the way through without any issues. At least the couple times I checked it, there was no issues or anything. So, but yeah, I see we have Ryan's here. I can get. I think my internet's running a little messed up. For some reason, I turned off the Wi-Fi and the internet's working better. I don't understand that, but yeah, Ryan's here though. What's up there, Ryan? And yeah, we're coming up on 14 minutes soon. But yeah, other than that though, I am trying to just get back into the swing of doing things here, and just yeah, I've really been out of the loop and everything. I'm not gonna dive into everything here. It's really, I don't think anybody really cares about all that stuff really, but yeah, I'm just another thing is I apologize. In like the past few weeks, I've been trying to set up streams and also do things with my girlfriend, but she has so many insecurities that she can't follow through with anything. She's only good at talking about doing things and not doing them. And that shit just aggravates the fuck out of me. That's probably one of my like, say, gotta be top 3 pet peeves right there, is when people talk about doing things and they don't fucking do them. I cannot fucking stand people like that. But yeah, I understand, some people, they will say that they want to do something and then things just don't work out that way. Shit happens. It does. But when it becomes a pattern and the pattern's backed up by excuses and cop outs, it's just like, the fuck, man? Like, how do I take someone seriously like that? But it just is what it is, man. Got to stay away from volatile and toxic people, I guess. This is what happens when it's another thing. I think in some ways I really need to stop being nice to people. But, I genuinely care. That's the thing. And when I care about something or someone, I'm not ready to just go, close the door on them and just roll out on them. For me, I try to look for solutions on things to fix problems, but I guess that's the difference between me and everybody else, but it just is what it is, man. People suck. But all right, Tom's here from the Undead of Night. Yeah, Tom, I saw you came in at the end of the last stream we did last night when we were like running the end of the trailer to close out the stream. I caught your comment there at the end, but yeah, good to see you here. And yeah, I'm gonna try to get back into doing this as much as possible. I'm going to join Juno in Texas as much as I can with those guys. I know Texas is usually Wednesday nights, and I'll be joining them tomorrow night. But I'm going to try to, do this as much as I can. I can't say that this will definitely be a weekly thing. At this point, it's going to be every night this week because I'm on vacation from someone that just will not leave me the fuck alone. But Johnny's saying, don't let anyone compromise your happiness and what you like to do, man. CWO is loved by all. Yeah, I know a lot of people have been, concerned, asking about me and other things, but yeah, no, you're definitely right about that, Johnny. You're definitely right. But, it's just, unfortunately, I guess it doesn't matter how much you care or love somebody. If they're just one fucked up individual, there's only so much you can do for that person, I guess. And eventually you just got to turn your back on people, I guess, which is not what I want to do. Not the way I do things, but it's just amazing how people can just force you to do things like that. It's just, between the money I've dumped on this girl, God, man, just goes right over the head, underappreciated, and just, man, I think if I were to go in like a dictionary and look up the word cantankerous, her fucking image would be right there. Cantankerous to the fullest. Like, girl embraces arguments. But Nathan's here from the NDT show. The NDT show. What's up there, Nathan? Thanks for stopping by. And all right, man, time goes by when you're having a good time, doesn't it? We're already coming up on 18 minutes, but yeah, other than that, though, I haven't really been buying many movies either, though. What did I buy here recently? I did buy The Substance on Blu-ray when this was on sale on Amazon for like $15.99. I think this was. I think it shot up to like $25 at this point. But yeah, definitely one of the better movies from last year, in my opinion. I also got something here from Arrow Video. What the hell is it? Give me just a second. It's here somewhere. That's another thing. I need to find time to clean this room, man. Got shit all over the place. Where the hell is this? Goddamn lighting system. There it is. The Sam Raimi movie with Billy Bob Thornton in it, Bill Paxton, and Bridget Fonda. Which I still have yet to see this movie. I've never seen this one, which I believe was pretty obscure there for a little while. This came out in, I think, 1990 something. So this was a release from Arrow Video at the end of the year, last year. But I think it's like 97 or 98 this came out, A Simple Plan, which is like a crime thriller overall. It's like about some local guys who are like out hunting in the woods in like a snowy atmosphere, and they come across the plane that crashed out in the woods, and there's like over like $4 million in drug money in this plane. So they decide to like recover the cash and everything and hide it and sit on it for a while. But as they're sitting on it, they start having problems and arguments about it and disagreements and everything, and it just causes everything to snowball and turn into a really bad situation. But yeah, this is a limited edition Blu-ray from Arrow Video, which got newly commissioned artwork there. It's funny though, like I guess this is like the original artwork here. It almost looks like a photo album. I know there's a giant glare on that, but yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this one out. And you know, it's packed up with features as you know, more than most Arrow Video releases are. But yeah, other than that, though, I haven't really been buying too much. But yeah, I guess I'll be getting back into that since somebody else doesn't appreciate me spending money on them. All right, we'll get back to the chat here. Oh, Jim. Oh, wait, I gotta get back here. I'm like missing people. And Greiker's here. I don't. Is that a? I don't know. That might be a new subscriber. See, I'm been so out of the loop on this. But yeah, you know, welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by here. And you know, Ryan saying you shouldn't have to risk your own happiness to make others satisfied. Yeah, I am aware of that, but I try to see the best in people. I try to. I don't know. To me, I always think there's a solution to things. There's always a way to work things out. But if the other person's not willing to meet you eye to eye, that's where the problem is, and that's when you gotta fucking move the fuck on and just cut your losses. But you know, I totally get it. But you know, I appreciate you know what you guys are saying. And Jimmy's here, James Van Dusen. Good to see you here, Jimmy. Johnny saying, Ryan, agree. You can only help people so much, and they don't want help. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's definitely not on me or anyone else, but just sad, man. Just fucking sad. 71 of the cats taking over the world yet, or is it the leprechauns and the lawn gnomes? But she looks like she's having a lot of fun over there with the AI generated photos and videos and stuff, and on CapCut. Yeah, I know for a while there was like a lot of issues with CapCut, and I was having trouble with the app. So I was like, oh, I'll delete the app and re-download it, because that's what I would do in the past. And I went back to go download it, and it wasn't there, and there was like some kind of like copyright issue or something going on. I was like, fuck, man, like what else am I going to use now? So I was using other programs, which is a lot harder to edit videos with, but I just got the CapCut app back like last week. So I got all that figured out again. And yeah, Johnny's saying, have you seen Nosferatu yet? Gonna watch it this weekend. Yeah, actually I did watch that. As soon as it went up on Look Movie, I watched it. I still have yet to pick up the Blu-ray or the 4K or whatever I'll get my hands on. But yeah, you know, it's another solid movie from Robert Eggers. And apparently, from what I read online with articles I saw, apparently he's going to be doing a Wolfman movie next. I guess we'll see how that plays out. Trying to fix my lights here so you guys can actually see me. I'm blinded now. But yeah, you know, Nosferatu, I forgot at the top of my head, forget what I really gave it. I'd say I probably gave it like a 7.5 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. You know, it's definitely worth everyone's time, especially, you know, for horror fans. Greg Graham and Troll don't it's yeah. For all I know, it's probably is you fucking nut. Well, either way, I know she's fucking lurking because she's, you know, she doesn't know what love is. It's all about obsession here. But yeah, so we'll ignore that one, I guess, for the night. And all right, so Nathan's I'm just now getting around to watching the Insidious films. You know, I did pick up the 4-film set of that. Might have been back around like Black Friday, something like that, but I've only seen the first 2 movies, and I know some people were really like shitting on like the latest one, that Red Key or something, or I don't know what it was called, but I'm not even really big on sequels as it is, just not. Most of them, most sequels and franchises just run their course and just go right into the ground quickly for me. So usually when it comes to franchises, after like the 2nd or 3rd movie, I'm like, all right, I'm tired. I just don't care anymore. But, you know, but Yeah, it's the first Insidious is definitely a solid movie. I think is still very effective though. And all right, so Texas, yeah, Texas is here. So I guess yeah, Juno and Texas are probably done. It will have to be done now with the Jackal watch party they were doing on Juno's channel. But yeah, good to see you here, Tex. And all right, so we're coming up on 20. All right, we just passed 25 minutes here. And what is up, baby doll? Yeah, love. It's a motherfucker.
Hey, chicks, don't worry for her, huh? Love, it's a motherfucker, huh?
I gotta make light of the situation, right? If not, then I'll truly lose my mind. Maybe I need to go on the bipolar medicine or bipolar bear medicine. But all right, so we're passing 26 minutes here. So yeah, you know what? Let's get this going. Let's just get this going. But yeah, there's a link at the top there for at effedupmovies.com to watch this. That's really the only place I could find to watch this movie. I couldn't find it on Look Movie. Couldn't find it on internetarchive.org. I couldn't even find it just from doing random searches, like even on Google too. I just couldn't find it anywhere. But yeah, that link, you should be able to pull that up or open that up and just hit play, and it should play. I believe it's run at an hour 28 minutes, which is what the full cut of this movie is. So yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and get yourselves situated ready, we'll get this going here in a minute.
I get lonely in this house all by myself.
Oh, Jesus.
It is time for you to do the Lord's work. Are you ready, Edward?
I'm ready, Mama.
His memories were tragic.
If it weren't for me, we'd be starving.
His desires were twisted.
I'm gonna do it, Mama. I'm gonna punish her for her sins.
All right, so we'll give it a few more seconds here if you guys need some time to get yourselves ready and all that. But oh wow, Alpha Romero's here. What's up there, Alpha? Always really enjoyed this flick. Railsback is a perfect egg game. Yeah, I highly agree, man. I know the first time I saw this movie, I remember finding this on when Comcast Video on Demand was like a big thing and like new at the time. And I remember that's how I really discovered this movie, was through that. And I was like, what's up with this Ed Gein movie with Steve Railsback? And that was how I first saw this movie. But yeah, I highly agree though. I think Steve Railsback does a really good job with the role of Ed Gein in this, and does a really good job of just playing like a very disoriented person who's, once he loses his mother, has no idea what to do with himself, and just becomes a very out of touch person, just doesn't know how to interact with people, just doesn't know how to be in the world without, like, his mother, which he has a very weird relationship with. But yeah, so all right, so other people are jumping in here now. 16 people in the chat. And okay, Eric is here. Eric is here from EA Horror. What's up there, Erica? Good to see you here. Hope all is well. And yeah, for anyone, yeah, I shaved my beard beginning of the month for like the first time ever. Or first time in years, really. The first time I put a razor to my face in like 15 plus years. But yeah, so sure some people are probably like, what happened to his facial hair? And Juno's here. What's up there, Juno? Good to see you here. And Yeah, Eric. It's. I'm trying to get back to the swing of doing all this again, getting used to doing everything. But it's nice to be back here and around people that actually appreciate me. But yeah. So we will get this going here real soon. All right. So this one will be banned out of here for good. You have a good night, Riker. Go get fucked. All right. Yeah. So yeah, Alpha Romero saying GEIN was always the most fascinating of the well-known serial killers to me. I'd have to agree. Between him and like Jeffrey Dahmer, and I mean, like being from Philadelphia, I was always like very fascinated with Gary Heidnik, even though he was really from Cleveland. But all of his crimes happened in Philadelphia. I always found him a little bit fascinating, but yeah, serial killers in general have always, sparked my interest, that's for sure, and how they, evolve over the years, how they become fucked up and do the things that they do. But that's, being a fan of horror movies and coming across movies like this, picking serial killers is just right up my alley too. But yeah, I would have to agree that, it's Ed Gein as a serial killer was always super fascinating to me. Oh, okay. Maybe that is you, you fucking bipolar bitch. Go find something to do, man. Stop fucking crawling up my ass. That's all you want to do is make me miserable. Find something else to do, bipolar bear. But all right. So yeah, let's get this going here. Let's get this going. All right. So yeah, the link is at the top there. If anyone needs a timestamp as we're going along and watching this, just reply in the chat, and we'll get you up to speed on that. All right, so we'll do a 10-1 here. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit play. All right, another one. Anyone who's got wrenches, can you just help me out here and get this Greiker asshole out of here if I can't get to it in time? This is where you guys, got to put the mods to work. Yeah, it's definitely you. It's definitely you, you fucking nut. Nobody else has these accounts besides you, so you're not gonna ruin my night. You are not gonna ruin my night. Not anymore. You're not fucking with my nights anymore. Time to enjoy life. I'm not the one with the mental issues. I wasn't born with mental issues, so I don't need that shit in my life. But yeah, with the way this movie opens up, it's real footage of interviewing people, that lived in the area where these crimes happened with Ed Gein and everything, which really does add to the allure of it. Really, like I think the interest really, and yeah, it's definitely appropriate for opening credits. Yeah, because all right. I got no problem banning out all these accounts. It's fine. I mean, it's no skin off my teeth. But after the opening credits here, it goes into the real time of the film, which is supposed to be the Plainfield Cemetery. And yeah, I believe that this would be taking place in the 50s, sometime around there. But you have a couple here that's, venturing into the Plainfield Cemetery, to find some privacy so they can mingle and do their thing. But lurking in the background throughout all these tombstones and everything, you have Ed Gein grave robbing, digging up corpses, and trying to find some parts to keep his mother all intact in the one piece, I guess you could say. Baby girl, you're not gonna bother me. You're not gonna bother me. Not no more. No, it's Erica. It's more than likely it's probably my bipolar girlfriend. So don't know who Steve's still kicking records archive, but yeah, that one will have to get going. Yeah, it's more than likely my bipolar bear girlfriend or ex girlfriend. I don't even know what the fuck's to call the person anymore. But any familiar name, sorry, you're getting banned. Anything that's unfamiliar, you're gone. Gone. Gone with the wind. Ah, shit, hit the wrong button. she literally has nothing else better to do. Nothing else better to do. What a fucking loser. Fucking poser, if anything. I'm the one who's always got to show her what fucking movies to watch. Has no fucking interest in actually trying to, do research on her own. Well, I like horror movies. Well, go fucking watch them then. The fuck? Damn, that's great. Yo, you got so many accounts, you know. So many. Man, how do you keep up with all that shit? Well, I guess you have to be bipolar to deal with all that shit. It's a real shame, though. I mean, like, like I was saying earlier on with mental illness and everything, I really do try to be understanding of that. But when you have people that don't try to better themselves, they don't want to take their medicine, and they just want to be nothing but cantankerous and volatile and embrace that hatred. It's just, sorry. I don't even look at you as a human being. Yeah, yeah, I don't know what to do anymore, man. I need to learn how to have that many accounts, dude. Oh, Eric, I think you would lose your damn mind over it. I know I would. Jesus Christ. I only have 2 accounts, and the second one is just in case something ever happens to the first one. But, moving on from the cemetery scene, now we have, Ed Gein has dug up, his latest victim, and he's looking at some kind of like anatomy book and everything, and he's obviously getting ready to cut this lady up and take whatever parts he wants from this lady. But like, he's putting his hands on like the lady's head, and he's like, almost like saying like some kind of spell to try to make her come back to life and everything. And he's like, "Arise," and saying all this shit. But then it moves on to the next day. Here is someone's knocking on his door. He's coming down the steps, and it's 2 local kids that I believe he was babysitting for. And he's, Ed Gein's not someone who's a very people person, so it's, I guess he can only relate to kids in a way, and no one's really willing to hang out with him. And a lot of the locals really find him to be very weird, and I'd say rightfully so. God damn, you have like at least 60 accounts. Holy shit. But anybody who has wrenches, try to help me out here. I know, I think only Texas and Juno are managing mods, but I'll have to hit there tonight. I know how to handle it. I'll fix all that shit. But, it's Ed Gein lets these 2 kids in his house. He's playing Go Fish with one of the kids, and the other kid is kind of just like sitting there playing with toys. But he ventures off into the house, and he starts walking up the steps, and he accidentally goes into Ed Gein's room here, which proves to be a bit of a traumatizing situation. Steve's here. What's up there, Steve? Yeah, good to see you here, man. Oh, shit. Yeah, when he goes into his room, he ends up seeing that there's like some like shrunken heads on the back of the door. There's actual like faces that have been skinned off of people on his wall. There's even a lamp that's made out of a spinal cord and everything. So, Ed's been real busy with body parts. I mean, baby girl, having STDs, I think that really just cancels out anything that's going on with me. So, those are permanent ones. Yeah, Tex, I don't know if I got you as a managing mod. I'm gonna get all that fixed, but it's not. It's right. It's fucking nut ass Jen, man. She has like 6,000 accounts. I don't know how somebody can keep up with that, but I guess you have to have a fucked up brain to do all that shit. But after the kid ventures into Ed's room, Ed obviously gets a little ticked off by that, and he's like, "I think you guys should go." But like, I like how the one kid's like, he's like, Ed, you're pretty weird. I think my dad's right that you shouldn't babysit us anymore. Like, oh my god. Well, yeah, other than the bipolar bear, good to see you guys here. Good to see everyone here. We got 20 people in the chat. I know at least half of that's probably nut ass John, but I, I don't care who it is, but either way, they're getting removed. But yeah, no skin off my teeth or Ed Gein's teeth. But I need to start making more mods. See how, because I usually don't get trolls over here. Usually don't, but I know how to handle that now. I know we'll be going live on Thursday, so we'll get all that taken care of. This is Ed at the local hardware store now, where he's at in the movie, but I think he's in the process of buying antifreeze right now. And of course, the two people that own this hardware store, they find him a bit weird, and even the fact that he has no idea what a cash register is and how it works and everything, he's all amazed by it. Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that, but this ain't gonna bother me at all because it's ignoring issues and people that are just don't matter. I find that to be a real easy trait, really easy to do. Ed's got a real serious question as this moves along to the bar, and all the guys are joking around. He leans over. He's like listening to their conversation. He's like, "Anybody ever think about changing their sex?" And like, Ed's like serious with that question. They're all laughing at him. They don't realize that he's being serious by asking that. Yeah, anything with that name, I'm just not gonna bring up at all. Even if like it's mentioned in a comment, which is not a big deal. I'm just not gonna bring it up. I know your crazy ass is lurking. I know you are. Nothing else better to do. This is where he's having a conversation with this with the lady bartender here. I forget her name in the movie, but she's like almost like one of the guys. She's always like talking dirty to these guys and everything. And Ed finds that to be real repulsive as he watches her behavior with the other guys. And he's explaining to her how he's, just been real screwed up since his mother's passed away. He's literally got no one now. It's just, him in that giant house, the farmhouse. But I believe what was the family? This is a flashback scene here with I forgot what's her name. The actress Carrie Snodgrass is playing Ed Gein's mother in this. I forgot she's in this. But yeah, it's I guess what Ed's family. It was really just him, his brother, and his mother and father. And I can't remember exactly what the father passes away from, but I don't know how true it is either. But like apparently his brother died in some hunting accident, which I think kind of pushes a little bit towards that Ed probably killed him by accident or on purpose in a hunting accident or whatever. Yeah, it's good to see none of that shit lasted very long. But Ed's mother was definitely a very domineering person. Somebody who was just heavily religious and was just constantly putting that on her kids and everything. Really just putting the fear of God into your kids, which is really one thing in reality of why I don't agree with religion. I think religion really runs people's lives in the wrong direction, and next you know it, you're not living the life you're not living the life that you want to be living. I mean, I think that's great and all. Religion works for people, but for me, it does not work. I'm sorry. I know when I die, that's it. I die. That's it. But yeah, these are technically like flashback scenes here when Ed was a kid, and his father and mother in the process of gutting a pig, and but his father was very abusive and verbally abusive, and his mother was always there to kind of shelter him and protect him from all that stuff, kind of babied him in a way, which I guess in some ways is why he gravitated towards her in such wrong ways. Because his mother really sheltered him, didn't like let him grow up and be the man he should have been. Oh, his mother says to him, he's like, "Are you gonna be a blubbering panty waste for the rest of your life?" Like, Jesus Christ. Shit, you're gonna say some shit like that. Why don't you just get to the point? Like, you're gonna be a pussy for the rest of your life. Gotta charge both phones. I'll be back. Yeah, it's all good, man. I'll be here for at least another hour and a half, I think, or at least another hour. Where is this streaming at, Sean? Like, I mean, I don't know. This is kind of like an obscure movie at this point. I happen to have, I don't know where the DVD's at now. There it is. Yeah, I have a DVD copy of this. Trying to pull that comment back. But I have a DVD copy of this, and yeah, it's become very obscure for a movie that was released in 2000. I don't think it's really available on any streaming services, but the link that's pinned at the top there is at www.fmovies.com. Should be able to open that up and just hit play. But as far as streaming services, I haven't found anything like on any actual streaming services. But yeah, hopefully this movie will get some kind of upgrade, man. Like I really could see a studio like Scream Factory getting their hands on this and releasing this, but this really does need some kind of upgrade, and it needs to be properly put in the widescreen too. It's another thing that the aspect ratio is almost like a box television 1:1 type aspect ratio. But yeah, like I tried to do searching, before I even set up the stream like a couple of days ago, and the only place I could find it is that link that's pinned at the top there. He's saying, "Have a good night, y'all are amazing." Yeah, you have a good night too. Jimmy. Well, probably see you tomorrow night on Texas's channel. So thanks for stopping by and take care, man.
All right, Pete.
So now Ed's been invited to dinner by one of the locals, and one of the kids at the dinner table is like asking him about slippage and everything on, dead animals and stuff, and it causes the mother and father to lose their appetite. Now this is like after dinner, they're like eating dessert, having pumpkin pie, but Ed ends up having some kind of like weird flashback in this moment while he's watching television. He ends up having like a psychotic episode here where he's like really borderline ready to lose his mind. But I mean, if anyone needs a timestamp, though, I'm at 18 minutes and 20 seconds, 21, 22, 23, and counting. Yeah, no problem there, Steve. But yeah, good to see you here, and hope all is well with you. And yeah, I did this one a little bit later, but mainly because I know Juno in Texas, they were streaming earlier, and I was like, well, I can do it later. It's no big deal. And I always try my best to not have a stream run into someone else's if I'm aware of that. Ed's, he's at the Plainfield Cemetery and obviously missing his mother. He's at his mother's grave and explaining how people always use him, come by his house to borrow things, never give things back. And see, that's the thing with him, man. He doesn't know how to be, and people take advantage of him. People make fun of him. They find him weird, and it's because he was so sheltered and domineered by his mother. This guy's, I'd say at this point in his life, he's got to be over like 50 years old, and he's just fucked, man. This guy's completely fucked. In my personal opinion, that Kane Hodder movie that came out in 2007, it's a Ed Gein based movie. I don't think that one's very good. I mean, you guys can give that one a watch, give it a try if you want. I had a lot of trouble getting through it, and I will never watch that ever again. And, I wouldn't even say that this movie's the best, but I think for the time that this came out in 2000 and Steve Railsback playing Ed Gein, I think, Steve Railsback really does a good job at, tackling the role of Ed Gein and carries the movie along very well. We have more flashbacks here of his mom walking in on him, catching him in the bathroom, playing with himself. And I warn you about reading that filth. Let's take a trip to Club Chlamydia.
Attention, pussy shoppers, take advantage of our penny pussy sale. If you buy one piece of pussy at the regular price, you will get another piece of pussy of equal or lesser value for only a penny. Try and beat pussy for a penny. If you can find cheaper pussy anywhere, fuck it.
Never gets old for me. All right, so we have 11 people in the chat. What's this? Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, today's Tuesday. I'm a little out of the loop there with that. Coming up on 22 minutes soon. 21:55 right now. these flashbacks move along a little bit to where this is where Ed and his brother are a bit older. They're like older teenagers, and mother's still reading the Bible to them as if they're like children and everything. And it's a shame because, like, like I'm sure in her mind, she thinks she's doing the right thing for her kids, but she's doing nothing but setting her kids back. And then it flashes forward even more, or even, more time goes by, and you can see it's Ed and his brother are a lot older now, which goes to the Steve Railsback character, or I mean, actor. But yeah, Alpha, I think you usually stream Saturdays, I believe. Like I know, like I always see notifications. I just haven't been watching a lot of content lately, but I always see notifications when you're going live and stuff. But I think you usually go on Saturday nights, something like that. Or maybe even Mondays. I don't know. I just know being subscribed to so many people, I always see so many different notifications. This is where Ed actually has a lady friend over the house. Man, that's another thing with his house. He's got newspapers all over the place. And I know she even says to him at one point, like, Ed, don't you throw anything out? And he's like, no. Well, usually, I like to hold on to these things because I might find a use for them later on. And she's looking down at the books on the table, and there's a book on the table that says, Jungle Headhunters or something like that. Yeah, now he's explaining the book, the story, the Jungle Headhunters book to her, and explaining how the female heads are more valuable to these tribespeople, these tribesmen. Especially if they have long hair. I'm surprised this lady isn't like repelled right away by him. Like I know I would have been like, yeah, I'll talk to you later, Ed. Gotta go in here. You got like a meat grinder in the fucking kitchen. Yeah, she comes across a dead mouse or a dead rat and a mouse trap there. That's all he ever eats is pork and beans, man. I guess he doesn't have any more farm animals left to really kill and feed on. But man, the newspapers and the books are really everywhere. You hear it's crawling through the ceilings and the walls and shit. They're upstairs in his house now, and she's like, "Can I have a look in there?" And that's his room, and he's like, "Oh, that's probably not a good idea." Oh, that's right. The reason why he has her over, they're talking about. I think he's like talking about doing like a trade where, like, he's gonna trade the farmhouse to her for whatever in exchange, or maybe at least sell the place. I'm a little fuzzy on how this movie plays out. I'm more familiar with the actual true story of Ed Gein, and I know there's a lot of conflicting things out there, really, but you dive into the true story of that enough, you start to find out some legit things and some things that are just, you know, over exaggerated bullshit.
One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. Forget your troubles and dance.
Don't even ask me where I found that. It's goofing up himself. Now, comparing this movie to Deranged, the 1974 movie, I still prefer Deranged, you know, way more over this one. But, you know, both movies are good in their own right. But, you know, Deranged with Robert's Blossom, I think that's a very, very well made 70s horror film, and especially for being a low budget film. Hey, Juno's back here, so. But yeah, our time at 28:25 right counting. Every time Ed digs someone up, he brings them into the house, puts them right on the dining room table, and he thinks he can make these corpses kind of, you know, rise back up and live again. And then when I guess he realizes he's got no power over it, that's when he cuts them up and takes whatever parts that are appealing to him. Yeah, I found that. I was like, shit, is that him? You know, this is where you know, Ed's really fat. I guess that is another reason why he's so big on the newspapers, is for the obituaries. And you know, he uses those obituaries so he can figure out what graves are the fresh ones without reading the dates on the tombstones. But now this is flashing back to when his father's on his deathbed, which will just lead up to how the rest of the family just passes on and it just becomes him, really. But you know, as far as like serial killer, you know, horror films, depictions, like I don't think there's a whole lot of good ones out there, really. Like there's, you know, some decent ones here and there, but you know, one I think's an underrated one. Hold on, I'll go grab it real quick. This is the 2002 movie. Is it 2000? Yeah, it's from 2002 with Jeremy Renner, the Dahmer movie. Which I thought this was a pretty good one overall, especially, you know, it's a Jeremy Renner in an early role for him, but yeah, it doesn't really focus on all of Jeffrey Dahmer's like graphic crimes, really, but this is a bit more psychological, the Dahmer movie, and I really do like the way this movie ends, because it's like when it's leading up to what with Jeffrey Dahmer, when, you know, leading up to his acts of crime and, you know, cannibalism and everything he got into. But like, I love how it ends, because it's like him running out into a forest, and it's supposed to really point at, like, you know, it's him going out into the world, and that's where his real crimes are going to take place. But yeah, and as far as you know, serial killer related horror films, I would definitely recommend this one if you guys haven't seen it. It's Dahmer from 2002. And now this is where Ed and his brother out in the woods going hunting, and his brother's talking about how he's going to move out of the house, and he's just constantly saying bad things about his mother, and Ed takes real offense to that, and he ends up taking his gun and beats the shit out of his brother and kills him here. but he makes it look like it was a total accident. And who knows what the true story is on that with the death of his brother. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Ed really did kill his brother, but like, in these serial killer movies with, that are based on Ed Gein, it usually plays out as, Ed killed his brother. So now it's just Ed and his mother left. Carrie Snodgrass, wasn't she in that Brian De Palma movie, The Fury? I think she might have been in that one. Who's the actress that's playing Ed's mother in this? Just trying to look that up real quick here. Damn, looks like she died a long time ago. 2004? She was 58 years old when she died. April 1st, 2004. I know she was in, yeah, that's right. She was in The Fury, 1978, Brian De Palma's movie. And then another one that never gets talked about, which I do have somewhere in my collection, it came out in 1980, is The Attic. It's another one that she was in. But yeah, she was in quite a few different horror movies. But it looks like her last movie, and yeah, we did a watch party for this, Juno. The Forsaken, the vampire movie. I know that was on my old channel that got terminated, but apparently that was Carrie Snodgrass's very last movie. Who's playing the mother in this? That was her last movie in 2001. What's that one you're mentioning there, Juno? The Secret Life of Jeffrey Dahmer movie is a solid Jeffrey Dahmer movie. It was actually made during the time he was on trial. I'll have to check that one out. So that sounds like an early 90s one. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. It's definitely, I'm just interested in hearing that. That's something pretty sure I haven't seen. So, and I know, Jim over at Jim's movie channel was mentioning one with Brian Dennehy last night that he played John Wayne Gacy in some kind of made-for-TV serial killer movie. So that's another one that sparked my interest with him mentioning that last night. I'll have to check that one out too. Yeah, The Forsaken. That's right. Yeah. I remember we did a watch party for that like 2 summers ago. No, it wasn't this. Yeah, it wasn't this past summer. It was like the summer before that. I think that's when we really started to do more streams and watch parties more often. Yeah, but Juno, you did that Bruce Willis movie tonight, The Jackal, and I think I have that in a double feature with Last Man Standing. But I still haven't seen The Jackal, and I thought Last Man Standing was a decent movie. It kind of has like a Western style kind of feel to it or whatever, but I'll have to check both of those out again. I'm pretty sure I have that in a Blu-ray double feature. This is where Ed is inviting the local bartender over to his house, and he's serving her some pork and beans, but he's serving her these pork and beans in a half-cut skull. That's obviously in the shape of a bowl. Oh man, just like looking at the the shit they're eating it out of. Just got an eerie look to it. And she has no clue. But Ed is going to be, Ed's definitely manipulating her here. Juno's saying full movie on YouTube showing the secret life of Jack. Oh, the full thing's on. That makes it easier then. All right, thanks for letting me know that, Juno. I'll just use the search engine. I'll check that out. But yeah, I obviously have more free time on my hands now, so I'll probably be watching that sometime soon. No more bipolar bear. Goodbye. Bye-bye, bipolar bear. I did enjoy both Jackal and Last Man Standing. They're both much better than shitty Death Wish remake. I know some people try to justify sometimes, like, well, did you ever see the director's cut? Like, really, is it that much better? Like, uh, I didn't care for that at all. I'm such a big fan of the original Bronson movie too, so that's probably another reason why I just can't get into, you know, that remake, the Edgar Rolfe movie with Bruce Willis. But Ed, as you know, he's sharing some pork and beans with the local bartender that he invites over his house, he ends up putting some rat poison into her beans, and she ends up dropping dead. And you know, he's real offended by her actions and her behavior. He doesn't like the fact that she's very open and talks to the guys in very dirty ways. And but you know, me personally, I don't see it as talking dirty. As anything, it just shows that she has a sense of humor and she knows how to just be open about things and have fun. He takes that in a very, very wrong way, which is, you know, based around how over dominant his mom has been with him and how just, you know, aggressive she's always been, and using the book of God and the Bible and everything to just really bring the hammer down on him at all times. You know, I think one of the creepiest scenes in this movie is what they call the Ed Gein moon dance. And he just comes out of his house the one night. I wanted to clip it for the stream. I just totally forgot about it. But he comes out of his house the one night and he's wearing a full skinned outfit of a woman. And he's hooting and hollering and looking up in the sky, screaming at the moon and everything, dancing around, banging on a drum that's made out of bones and skin and all this stuff. And just, ugh. When you see that scene, it's like, it really is a, like, you could be sitting there watching it casually and that shit could really catch you off guard. Like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit. But you know, I really think the pacing of this movie is done very well. That's probably one of the better things about it, in my opinion. How this movie does very well with its pacing, with flashing back to when, you know, Ed's the teenager, flashing back when he's like middle aged and everything, and you know, going different times throughout his life and going back into current times and modern times or whatever when this is supposed to take place. I think, you know, the creators of this, they do a really good job with the pacing in this movie. And you know, even some things about it don't stand out as well. I just think the pacing alone is really what can keep you interested, especially if you're someone who's into serial killer movies or even just the Ed Gein story. Yeah, this is going back to when Ed actually kidnapped the bartender. Which really, I think he ended up. Now he didn't kill her. He shot her one time in an area that was not life threatening, just to immobilize her. And he's stuffing her in the truck now. And this is where Ed really starts fucking things up, becomes a lot more careless, I guess you could say. He's trying to make it look like someone robbed the bar and kidnapped the bartender. So timestamp is currently 40 minutes and 40 seconds where I'm at and counting. Smoke weed, pussy. Definitely don't want to eat that fucking genital wart pussy, that's for sure. Ugh. Oh yeah, he's got her in the house now. She wakes up, she's seeing all the shrunken heads that are on the back of his bedroom door, all the card faces. And she loses her shit now. She realizes what's going on. He's saying, you scream as loud as you want, ain't nobody gonna hear you. It's so true too. Like nobody even wants to go near his house. No one's gonna pay attention to any screams coming from his house. But yeah, it looks like tomorrow night. Well, no, well, not looks like, but tomorrow night will definitely be streaming on Texas's channel. It'll be CWO full effect. We'll be watching The Food of the Gods and the 1980 movie Alligator, which is really up there as one of my favorite creatures, and I really think one of the better, I guess you could say, Jaws ripoffs. But man, when that alligator shows up at the wedding, man, that's just so fucking hilarious. It starts annihilating people, hitting people with its tail, chewing people up, and killing a bunch of rich people that deserve it. That movie's so fucking genius and fun, and directed by one of the more underrated directors, I think, too, is Louis Teague. He was really an underrated horror director. I know he also directed the Stephen King horror anthology Cat's Eye, on top of many other movies I can't really think of. I know he also did Cujo too. I think he did a Stephen King Cujo, but yeah, Louis Teague was really an underrated film director. That's for sure. But yeah, Thursday I'm going to be doing Confessions of a Serial Killer. The 1985 movie, which is another one. This one just finally got a Blu-ray release, like maybe about a year ago at this point, from Unearthed Films. And yeah, Confessions of a Serial Killer came out in 1985, which is based on Henry Lee Lucas, the supposed serial killer that killed like over 200 some people, which is probably a lot of bullshit, really. But yeah, this is a movie I remember seeing on the shelf at the video store when I was a kid, and it took me a long time to actually get around to renting it. But I really think this artwork is very misleading. Like that, the killer there behind bars that has the Hannibal Lecter like mask, because this is really not in the movie. And you look at this guy, like the killer doesn't even look like this. It's definitely some misleading, but the movie itself is pretty good. I'd say this movie's definitely, worth giving a 7 out of 10 on a 1 to 10 scale. And then Friday, I'm gonna go, follow that up with Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which is another one that's based on Henry Lee Lucas that came out the following year in 1986. So I'm just going to stay on the theme of serial killers, since I've been influenced by my psycho girlfriend to focus on psychopaths. So we'll just call it Serial Killer Week on the Cinephile World Order channel. We got 10 people left in the chat, but wait. Oh yeah, there's some other comments here. Yeah, Johnny saying, I did the moon dance after I broke up my ex-girlfriend. Like, got better best wishes, broken night, y'all. Yeah, take care, Johnny. Thanks for stopping by, man. And yeah, we'll talk again soon. Have a good night. Dipshit is doing another trivia show, like how that bullshit lasts. See, the problem with him is he just doesn't know how to, stick with doing something and let things digest and take the time for the things to, sink in and just happen. He just gets, really scattered and all over the place. He can't just settle on things, and he gets all flustered too if he can't find people to do it. He gets all pissed off if life happens and people have to cancel on him. It's just, he's just not a very realistic person, and obviously someone who's pretty much a shut-in doesn't leave their house. You have people like that, which is very similar to how Ed Gein is. don't have human interactions, you're not going to know how to treat or talk to people. But, you know, people are who they are. And now we're flashing back to when Ed's mother's on her deathbed. And this is what's really going to be like such a midlife crisis for Ed. This is what's really going to crumble his world here. But yeah, Steve Railsback, I think he did a very good job in this role. I mean, me personally, I think his best movie was, you know, I know some people don't care for that movie. I think it's a very well-made sci-fi movie from Tobe Hooper. But me personally, I think that's Steve Railsback's, you know, best role in any movie I've ever seen him in. How old is Steve Railsback now? I know he's up there in age, or he's still with us, right? I don't think he died yet. I think the last time I seen Steve Railsback in anything might have been The Devil's Rejects as like one of the police officers. Is he still with us? Yeah, he's 79 years old. Born in 45, Dallas, Texas boy. So yeah, he's still alive. 79 years old. That's good to see, though. What's the latest thing he's done? Oh, he was in one of those Rest Stop movies, or the Rest Stop, Don't Look Back. I think that's one of the last things he really did. You know, besides showing up in Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects. Yeah, I wish this movie gets a Blu-ray release. I don't know who the fuck has the rights, but they should get this movie a Blu-ray. Yeah, I agree, man. I just thought, I mean, look, I think this is like one of those Tartan releases. At least that's what it says on here. But why didn't Tartan Films release this on their own then? Because this is not actually a Tartan DVD. Well, yeah, it says a Tartan Films production. But this is not a Tartan Films DVD. That's the DVD I have, you know. It's like I bought this used like quite a long time ago. I think I got this for like $9.99 in really good condition. But yeah, this is long out of print now. But I mean, if you desperately want to get a copy of this, I'm sure you could find a used copy in good condition online for probably, you know, around $10, maybe $15. But you know, spending $15 for a DVD nowadays can be a bit, you know, pricey, a little too much or whatever. But you know, I agree, man. Like this movie really, you know, desperately needs an upgrade, I think. And you know, another thing is like the aspect ratio. Like this is not even really in proper widescreen. Oh, this is the scene now, and he's got all different kind of noses that were cut off of other, you know, corpses that he's been grave robbing from, and he's sitting there at the dinner table looking at the mirror, and he's putting the noses on. He's getting all excited about it and everything, and how the many different noses they give him different looks and everything, gives them different kind of features. But you know, as most of you guys know, you know, Ed Gein and everything, he was this, you know, real life serial killer, was definitely a big inspiration for the Silence of the Lambs movie. You know, between him, Ted Bundy, and Gary Heidnik and everything, it's one thing with Silence of the Lambs. It's not just based on one serial killer. It's based on like the acts and actions of different serial killers throughout these, you know, crazy times throughout the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, and even going into the 90s. I gotta turn this up a little bit. This is where he's trying to ask the lady at the hardware store out on like a date. He doesn't know how to approach this. He's just not. He doesn't know how to interact with people. Definitely doesn't know how to talk to girls. That's for sure. I mean, even on top of that, it seems like he's interested in changing his sex. You know, even when he's at the bar that one night or whatever, and he's saying in a serious manner to these guys as they're joking. He's like, "Any of you guys ever think about changing your sex?" And they all start laughing, and he kind of puts his head down about it. He's like, "Ah, shit." These guys don't want to talk about this. It's how far gone he is.
Don't worry, Colette. I just joke with you anyway.
Yeah, and she turns him down, and then he tries to make it sound like, "Ah, don't worry about it. I was just joking with you anyway." Oh, this is the moon dance scene. Oh my god. Yeah, the door creaks open and he comes out. He's got a full set of tits on. He's wearing this woman bodysuit that he's put together from grave robbing. And oh my god, just even his body movements, everything he's doing, and he's all howling at the moon and everything. Just a fucked up scene. Can you imagine being like one of the locals and like just kind of like casually walking by late at night, like being drunk or something, and you see that goon dancing around in woman's skin and hooting and hollering at the moon and everything? Well, I guess, once Egg is done with his little goofball moon dancing, he goes to bed for the night and wakes up and he thinks he's hearing things throughout the house. So he goes and grabs his gun. He's gonna go and investigate, see what all the noise is about, which I believe is all psychologically in his head. But saying it's kind of bullshit that Look Movie doesn't have this film. Instead, they had the shit. Yeah, of course, they had the shitty 2007 Kane Hodder movie. When I was trying to put this together and everything, I was like, if I can't find a link, I don't think I'm gonna watch this or do a watch party for it. Because I try to schedule things to make sure that other people have options to join in. But Juno, the link that's pinned at the top there at f.com, you should be able to open. At least when I checked it, it played and perfectly fine. But I know sometimes with people's internet and their devices doesn't always allow them to access everything very easily. But yeah, like I've searched everywhere else as much as I could. I couldn't find it on internetarchive.org, and this is the only place I could find it was effed up movies, and it was the full cut of the movie. So I just know when I open it, it hit play, so it shouldn't give you any any issues. I see Russell Collier is here. What's up there, Russell? The GEIN movie with Kane Hodder is bad. Yeah, it's a very forgettable one, unfortunately. And no, I'm not drinking. It's ginger ale. I don't need alcohol to do a stream like some fucking people. And sometimes I will drink on a stream. All right, so maybe sometimes I'll get a buzz on a stream. No big deal. By the time the stream's over, I'm not even feeling that buzz anymore. It's just fucking pathetic that some people need a 3-hour pregame and a fucking bunch of drinks just to get through a stream. Talk about being fucking insecure. Fucking pathetic. So now after Ed is waking up and he's hearing noises, he's thinking it's his mother. He thinks he's seeing his mother throughout the house, and it's how far gone he is, how shot out he is, man. He thinks he's having full conversations with his mother right now, and this is not what's going on. Timestamp right now, I'm at just past 57 minutes. I'm at 57:10 and counting. So we got about a half hour left here, and we'll be through this. But yeah, as I said already, Thursday I'll be right back into the serial killer theme. We'll be watching the 1985 movie Confessions of a Serial Killer, which is based on Henry Lee Lucas. So I'd like to consider him as the highly exaggerated serial killer. I think some of his crimes were true. A lot of it was just made up bullshit, though. Nathan's back here. Parts unknown. 81 at MC. I'm going to meet Hotter in May. Okay, that's cool, man. Recently, Nathan, I saw you did like a taste testing for like some Faygo soda, and like here in Philadelphia, it's not always easy to find Faygo. And like I saw you drinking, I was like, "Fuck, man, I really want some Faygo now. I haven't had it in so long." But like I know what Faygo, like I think like one of the things about it, I think that's like so appealing is the fact that it's like, yeah, it's high content sugar, but it tastes so good. But I know like one soda here in Pennsylvania, I know it's throughout the whole United States, you should be able to get it, was Jolt. Jolt was always a big soda, at least for me. Like the grape soda, the orange soda, sometimes even the regular cola. Like those were high content, sugar content, really high in sugar or whatever. But yeah, being kids and everything, like a teenager, like I would always like buy like a couple of those throughout the day and be drinking them fast and all hopped up on caffeine and high sugar content and everything. But I mean, thank God I'm not overweight. I can still drink that stuff, but really got to watch that stuff on your mouth and everything. How fast it could fuck up your teeth and everything. But yeah, I found it at our food city. Aren't you down in like Nashville, Tennessee? I think that's where you live at. At least like I don't know. I always watch your like out and about videos. Like I don't watch everything. I can't get to everything, but I know you'll usually do those out and about videos. Like I know one time I saw you getting like fried pickles like with your family or something. I was just like, fuck, dude, that shit looks so good. Like yeah, further down south, man. You guys really know how to do food down there, man. But yeah, you're out and about videos and stuff. Even if like the videos you'll do sometimes where like you'll be like, focusing on your garden or whatever and growing stuff. Like that stuff's always pretty cool to see. Oh man, I forgot about that scene. He's thinking, oh my god. He's like, he's having these visions where he thinks he's this naked Nazi ladies in his house with just a captain's hat on. Like it was actually a scene with nudity. But I forgot about that. It's such a quick scene, but you also see how his room's all like piled up with like bones and everything. Like he's got a lamp made out of a spinal cord and shit. Just whew, man, he really does not throw anything out, especially the bones and all the body parts and the flesh and the skin. Surprised he's not making like human beef jerky. Nathan, I think like I forget how I discovered your channel, but I do remember like one of the things I'm pretty sure of how I really discovered your channel, besides like horror movies and like physical media releases, was like a lot of like Halloween decorations. I know like once the fall season comes around, you'll kind of go out to like certain stores and see what places have things on the shelves and what's available. But I love the fall season. I'm also big on Halloween decorations. It's like something to where I'm like still a little kid about. But I think that was like one of the main things I remember with finding your channel with that. And it's just you always like when that time of year comes around, you'll have those kind of out and about videos going to like local stores. Like, I think like the one time you were at like a Michael's or something like that. But yeah, you always do a good job with those videos. It's interesting content. You could say it's simple laid back content, but like people are interested in that stuff. At least it keeps me watching. I love Halloween, so it's just something to where I'll always be a kid about. Yeah, I'm a Halloween freak. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Russell. Yeah, every day is Halloween. I mean, shit, like recently it was like I saw like a thing, it was like 250 days to Halloween. I was like, shit, man, it's a lot. It's a lot of days from now. I wish it was closer. But I just know once we get to that like 100 days until Halloween, that's when I'm like, oh shit. Because that's like usually around like end of July, beginning of August, or somewhere around there. It's like 100 days, something like that. But that's when I'm always like, yeah, here we go. But like, one thing I gotta say is like, like doing like the 31 days of horror movies, it's kind of running its course for me because like I pretty much watch a horror movie every day, no matter what. Like watching a horror movie every day for 31 days is kind of just like, all right, well, big fucking deal, right? I do it every day, no matter what. 365 horror movies, But I'm definitely one of those people that can't just watch horror movies all the time. I love all different genres. I just don't get into romance really, unless it's mixed into other genres. Like, I guess a good movie for a good example with that would be like John Carpenter's Starman. That's kind of like sci-fi romance. That's probably as close as I can get to like romance, but I can do any other any other genre outside of that. I just think, being a fan of horror movies and just cinema in general, like I can't be confined to just horror movies. I would lose my fucking mind. And plus, there's just so many other good and classic movies out there that tackle other genres, and it just, I don't know. I just love all types of movies. So, and that's what kind of keeps my sanity with all that, really. Because I feel like if I just watched horror movies, I'd lose my fucking shit, or probably just get really bored with it. As much as I love horror movies, I naturally need a break from them sometimes. It doesn't matter what Ed does going forward, man. His mom's in his head. His mom's dead and gone at this point, but he's constantly hearing her voice in his head and seeing her at everywhere he goes. Anything he does, she's there. She's there right in his head, buried in his psyche. Oh, yeah, Nathan's saying, I went last week and bought a bunch of decorations at Party City, but because sadly they are closing up for good. We had, oh man, Party City in Philadelphia, Northeast Philadelphia, we had for years, and they closed up maybe around like 2017 or 18. Yeah, like over like 5+ years ago, they closed up. And yeah, I remember taking advantage of some of the discounts and sales when they were closing up. But yeah, it sounds like they're really closing up everywhere for good now. That's a bummer, I think, between you and I and all other people, like a lot of us grew up with a store like Party City. Even though we might not have shopped there all the time, it was still a store that was a part of our lives. Yeah, Nathan saying I'm with you. I like a lot of movies. Horror is just one of them. Yeah, like horror is always my number one genre. But sometimes I just need a break from them. Like I'm also the type of person, I don't really watch a lot of horror movies during daytime hours. If I have time to watch a movie, like during the day, I don't know. To me, I get a better feel with horror movies at night, which is why I think a lot of people kind of like, look at them and label them sometimes as like midnight movies. It just, I don't know. I find that a horror movie's a lot more effective watching it at night with the sun down. But, I've definitely watched horror movies in daytime hours. But like, if I have time on like a Sunday afternoon to watch a movie, I'm probably going to go for like an action thriller or something over, a horror movie. Ed's gonna kill this older lady that he was trying to ask out on a date at the hardware store after taking the rifle out of the cabinet. Because he really just wants her for parts. And he just shot her in the back. I think this is gonna prove though that Ed should have thought this out more. There's people outside, they're out in the parking lot. Like they don't know or even could hear what happened on the inside here with shooting her, but Yeah, this is where he's gonna really start, messing things up. There's blood all over the wooden floor. He ain't gonna get that up. That shit's gonna be stained in the wood now. Our timestamp here, if anyone needs one, I'm at 107:25 and counting. This moved along pretty quick, or at least it did for me. Time flies when you're having a good time. I don't normally do streams by myself, but I can do them by myself. I just prefer to do streams with other people just to hold a conversation. Kind of makes the stream a bit more interesting, I think. But surprisingly, I'm doing this on no Wi-Fi either. I'm doing this just like I turned the Wi-Fi off and everything's working much better. I'm just surprised that happened. For some reason, with my Wi-Fi on, things weren't working properly. I don't know why. My internet's a little shoddy right now. We have 7 people left in the chat, but it's not too bad, especially for past midnight where I'm at in the East Coast in Philadelphia. I mean, Nathan, if you're still here, I know you're big on the VHS. At least I've seen videos before of you. Like, I think you have like a basement area where you keep all your VHS tapes and everything. But yeah, you definitely have a very extensive collection of all types of retro and classic movies on VHS, from what I remember. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, like, I wouldn't say like we always get to see like your VHS collection, but like sometimes you'll do videos like related to that, and then like it'll refresh me like, oh, that's right, he's a big VHS collector, and yeah, obviously the wrestling. That's one thing. Like, I'm not like growing up, I always watched Saturday morning cartoons and watched wrestling, WWF, and American Gladiators. But like by the time I was like 12 years old, I leaned a lot more towards sports, as like baseball, hockey, football, and so I kind of grew out of the wrestling. But it just seems like a lot of people that like horror movies, they like wrestling. It just really seems like wrestling and horror goes hand in hand with like the general crowds that are into that stuff. It just never clicked for me though. Like I liked wrestling when I was growing up, and I just kind of grew out of it, and I focused more on like like the 4 major sports really. Which I'm not saying that's like a problem or anything. I just sometimes I don't know. It's like, what is it about wrestling and horror movies that make that go hand in hand for a lot of people? Sometimes I don't get it, but there's nothing wrong with it. Definitely not saying there's anything wrong with it. Yeah, but hopefully this sorry. Hopefully this movie will get some kind of upgrade. And it's got to be acknowledged. I know this movie's, it's very underrated in its own way, and really just overlooked and forgotten by a lot of people. But I with all these boutique labels and even bigger studios out here, I just don't see how this movie can continue to be ignored and not get a more proper upgrade. Because it's another thing, as I said, this movie's not even in widescreen. It's almost fit for like box televisions in a way. And I mean, the DVD is definitely watchable, is what I have here, and which I think if you really search on the internet, you could still find a copy of this on DVD for a fair price. I remember paying like $10 for this, like might have been about like 10 years ago at this point, but yeah, that movie really needs some kind of upgrade. I really feel like a studio or company like Scream Factory could do a decent job, even though the people that run Scream Factory anymore just got a bunch of careless assholes over there, just don't know what they're doing. Nathan saying, I don't understand the horror and wrestling either, but since I've been going to the horror conventions, they always seem to have wrestlers wrestler section meet and greet. Yeah, it's right. Like, I don't really do a lot of conventions like that, but when I see like the people's videos and stuff, I do see how that's like you see a lot of that stuff at tables, or even even just at like individual tables. It will like somebody will have horror and wrestling stuff, but. I forgot to, even think of that or even consider that the conventions will really, be big on both of those right there. Like more than likely you'll be going to a convention for something horror related, but there will be wrestling related stuff there too. See now the cops, they know that this lady's missing. I think this is her son that was working with her at the hardware store, so he's really the one that has brought this to the authorities, to their attention. And now this is where the cops are really going to pick up on his trail, and this is where he's going to, really be dropping the ball and growing up here. See, like another thing is like Ed Gein, the way he comes off as such a weird person that people don't want to focus on him. People want to get away from him. So nobody could really, have that kind of eye for him as such as to be like, oh, well, maybe he's weird, but he's harmless. So no one can really see him as a murderer. But, people are just so repelled from him that they want to stay away from him. Like, oh, God, Ed Gein, let's get away from him. Like, damn right, he's definitely weird, but, if you open your eyes a bit more, you take the blinders off, you'll see that the guy's a lot more than weird. But, another thing, as I mentioned yesterday, when we were watching Deranged, it looks like Netflix with their their serial killer show that they have called Monsters that they did for the Menendez brothers and Jeffrey Dahmer. It looks like they're going to be focusing on Ed Gein next. And it looks like the person that's going to be playing Ed Gein is going to be Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy. But either way, it's got my interest. It's hard to say if they'll, get that done right. It's hard to say if Charlie Hunnam can actually, tackle the Ed Gein character, but I'm sure they know more than I do, so I'm interested to check it out. Hopefully, it'll be as good as the Jeffrey Dahmer show. I actually did not watch the Menendez brothers one, which I just never really found that story so very interesting. But if I get bored enough someday and just get bothered with sheer boredom and can't figure out what to watch, maybe I will get around to finally seeing that. But the Jeffrey Dahmer show, man, there's really, there was some real eerie moments throughout that. Like even one scene in the Jeffrey Dahmer show was, you see him at one point, he's in the shower and he's got this giant Ziploc bag full of fucking blood and he's just dumping it all over himself. It's just like, oh my God, dude. He's like got it in his mouth and everything. Oh, yeah. That Jeffrey Dahmer show, that was a good one, man. It really was. It was definitely a bar setter, man. That was hard to put down, too. Like, I remember binging that, and I remember being, like, late at night, like, I gotta get to sleep. And I'm like, nah, I want another episode. I gotta keep watching this. But now that the cops have tried going on Ed Gein's property, they want to question him. There's only so much that they could do about that. So this lady who's been killed and she's missing, which is this guy's mother, he's decided to go do his own investigating himself. So now he's on Ed's property. He's going through the back of his house right now with his own weapon. And now he's starting to find the things that are missing from the hardware stores, such as the cashier. It's got blood on it. And now he's finding his mom's dead body, hoisted up like a deer, gut it in half as a... almost as if, like, it's like Art the Clown has, like, kidnapped his mother and killed her or something. Yeah, this is really going to be a chain reaction of the event of fucked up events going forward here. And meanwhile, all this is going on, Ed's having dinner with some other locals right now, some other neighbors. And this guy's run out of Ed's house. He's throwing up all over the place. Yeah, as soon as this movie's over, we will end the stream and all that. But yeah, tomorrow night we'll be streaming on Texas's channel over at Texas Hardcore 1965. You know, CWO back in full effect, and we'll be watching The Food of the Gods and the 1980 movie Alligator. So we got 8 people left in the chat right now, apparently. So yeah, this will probably be ending this like in about we're at 150 right now. This will probably be ending like in 10 minutes from now. 'Cause that's where I'm at in the timestamp. I'm at 118:42. And the movie is a total of 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 48 seconds. So yeah, it's 10 minutes left. Or actually, well, if you don't count the credits, it's actually a little less.
Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door.
Open the door. Oh shit. Oh, it's not his mother, it's right. He's just working with that lady at the hardware store. But now he knows where Ed's been. He's been eating dinner with the neighbors. He got a gun on him right now. And they have the proof of him being at the store this morning because of the antifreeze that he bought. And there's enough proof there to show that he's did this. He's got Mrs. Marshall hoisted up in his barn, you know, completely decapitated, cut in half, gutted like a deer. Well, yeah, Steve Railsback was really good in this role, Zed GEIN. No. I'm about to kill it. Yeah, like car ran run. Brian, don't make me do it. Brian, please quit chipping it. Well, now the cops have come in and they're trying to get this guy Jim to get his gun off of him. I almost can't blame the guy, but the cop, you know, the right thing to do here is to let the authorities take over. Now, apparently in real life, like when this, you know, when everything came crumbling down for Ed GEIN, he was very quiet. He didn't really say too much. Apparently he was quiet for a couple of days, and then finally when he spoke, he was like, "Can I have some apple pie with a slice of cheese?" Like, he said something like that. It's just like, really? It's all you're concerned about right now? But, you know, Ed GEIN was just, man, that guy was shot the fuck out. But apparently he died in jail around the year of 83, 84. It's about the time I was, you know, thought of and brought into the world. But yeah, obviously this all happened a long time ago. I think early 50s is when all this stuff went down. Let's look that up real fast. But even in this moment when he's being arrested, he's still hearing his mother in his head. You know, the cops are going into his house and they're finding all the body parts, all the eerie evidence and everything. Man, Jesus Christ. Fingers in jars, all the full woman's suit, faces laying on the floor. I don't know how these cops are in there, like not covering their mouths or wearing some kind of like respirators. Probably smells like such shit in there. Now this is going a bit forward when Ed's in jail and everything. Yeah. So this all happened around the time, between the time of 1954 and 57. And yeah, he ended up dying on July 26, 1984. He was 77 years old is when he died in jail or prison or no, he actually died in an institute. He was in a health institute in Madison, Wisconsin is where he died at. At least that's what it says on the Wiki page. But now it's now we're going to the real footage and everything, like the real police footage, like the black and white footage of him actually being cuffed and put into a cop car and everything. And the locals are all taking pictures with all the news journalists and everything. And he's just like completely shocked and embarrassed, I guess. And they're all shoving cameras into his face. And it says Ed was diagnosed with having a long-standing chronic schizophrenia condition, was judged legally insane. So that's why he was put into an institute. But yeah, the credits are pretty much rolling right now. Well, between, Steve Railsback doing such a good job in the role as Ed Gein, I think, Carrie Snodgrass, she did a pretty good job too playing his mother. The credits are pretty cool too, because like as the credits are rolling, it's still showing some of the acts and the behaviors of Ed Gein, with his grave robbing bullshit. Juno saying, I'll say Ed Gein was more disturbing than Jeffrey Dahmer. Man, it's so hard to pick one over the other, but yeah, I think if I had to give the give it to one of them, I had to pick one over the other. I think I probably would have to give it to Ed Gein. So, Juno's saying, I'm surprised that Ed Gein didn't get the death penalty like how Bundy and Gacy got for their crimes, and the justice system sucked ass. Yeah, things were just a lot different back then, Juno, and because of the fact that he was deemed legally insane, I think that's why he was put into an institution over actually spending out his years in prison and being executed, though. Things were just different back then, too. Well, as the credits roll, it's just, him in the institution talking about how his mother was a saint. And even the theme music's very eerie, too, but yeah, so that is Ed Gein, the 2000 movie. And yeah, we'll close this one down here in just a minute. But yeah, so tomorrow night, we will be doing a double feature, like I said, on Texas's channel, Texas Hardcore 1965. It'll be me, him, and Juno 2000. So yeah, CWO will be back in the full effect. And shit, just want to get that off of there. And yeah, so we'll be watching The Food of the Gods, which I haven't seen before all the way through. I've only caught parts of it over the years after, like, being a kid and finding it on TV. So I'm looking forward to catching that all the way through. And then we'll be following that up with one of my favorite creature features, which is technically a Jaws ripoff. And yeah, we'll be watching the 1980 movie Alligator. So it should be a good time. And then, like I said, I have to get some things scheduled on the channel, but yeah, we've got things coming up on Thursday and Friday. And also I want to do on March 17th, it'll be the 25th anniversary for the original Final Destination. I haven't seen that movie in years, so I want to try to get that scheduled. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I think that'll be appropriate to acknowledge the 25th anniversary for Final Destination. But yeah, it looks like we have a couple people left here in the chat. But yeah, for the couple of you guys that are left here, I do appreciate you guys for stopping by and hanging out here late on a Tuesday like this. But I see Greg Brewer just showed back up. It's all good, man. It's all good. We'll be back at it again tomorrow night. But yeah, thank you all very much for hanging out with me here tonight to watch GEIN. And yeah, maybe we'll see you all tomorrow night on Texas's channel. And if not, I got something going on Thursday and Friday anyway. So we'll keep the serial killer theme going here. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one, everyone.
I get lonely in this house, all by myself. Oh, Jesus.
It is time for you to do the Lord's work. Are you ready, Edward?
I'm ready, Mama.
His memories were tragic.
If it weren't for me, we'd be starving.
His desires were twisted.
I'm gonna do it, Mama. I'm gonna punish her for her sins.